Uh-oh, now you done it.
Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian, fighting from the booth. They'll fight for the real story, wherever it's hidden away. Overwatch and the Guardian are there every day. It's Overwatch and the Guardian against the narrative. The enemy fighting to save the day. They never give up, they're always there, forcing the normies to take red pills every day. Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian, defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian is the code name for the team that won't quit. Its purpose to force the normies to swallow the red pill against the narrative. A ruthless force determined to keep everyone asleep. They broadcast the truth on Rumble, on clouds dropping red pills every week. Overwatch and the Guardian, the narrative is weak.
We can't let it end like this!
It's too late.
Defenders of the truth. Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian. Overwatch and the Guardian.
What's up, Elf Warrior?
It never gets old, brother. It never gets old. So still with the old school mic, but the soundboard's supposed to get here tomorrow.
You don't need a soundboard. I have a Rode right here that I haven't used in 3 years.
I love it. I love the way it sounds.
Because I got my beautiful little microphone right here, and she's a beauty, and I love her.
Oh, don't do
That
that,
hurt?
man. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
It was like Silence of the Lambs shit in my ear, man.
Oh.
Dude, we got a fun guest tonight.
I heard he's pretty fun.
You know, when we were pre-show, you know, getting ready to get this party rocking, I got to listen to Josh and this gentleman talk. And I'm like, damn, I felt like I was in the pre-show. Like I'm getting the VIP treatment, listening to these two guys talk about something that you're all going to get to hear tonight. And I was just like, this is going to be a fun conversation. So with that, you want to pay some bills real quick and then we'll get into the show?
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
All right. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You just run with it. I got none that are populated. I got to wait for an audience to come in, but you can go ahead and run yours.
All right. I will do the famous Rumble wallet because we know
Which one are you running?
It is the top one. So
okay, let's go ahead and do it.
All right, here we go. That QR code now is up on the screen, folks. They can freeze your accounts, shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you, they control you. That's why financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, real gold, on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without a bank vaults, storage feeds, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using the Rumble wallet, peer-to-peer, and outside the banking system. No permission, no middleman, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. And you'll see that tip jar right about there on both mine and Josh's screen. And again, all the links to our partners, sponsors, and affiliates are all down on the description of our respective shows, including the links to follow our guests tonight. And as a matter of fact, I just realized I gotta switch us. There we go.
I feel more normal now.
This is weird, man. I'm not supposed to be on this side. Any teasers you want to give before we bring up our guests?
Well, I mean, teasers. Well, what are we going to talk about tonight? I think we're going to talk about some weird and crazy shit that actually might be very, very, very real. And yeah, this stuff is very, very real. And I've been in this world for a little while, and this is actually one of those people that I used to listen to back in the day that I was like, oh my God, this stuff is so cool, before I had any connections and understood any of this stuff. So let's just bring him up. Everybody knows who he is.
It is that time. Let me bring him up on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our brother from Badlands over there, Jordan. Say that to the screen. Thanks for joining us, man. I know you got to be exhausted after a long day.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Look at me in the middle of these studs.
That's right.
It's gonna be a fun show. Yeah, man, we're gonna get into the weird. We're gonna get into the woo-woo tonight. And Josh, man, I love talking to you about this stuff because you're in it, man. You guys are familiar with it real deep. And I know both of you familiar with like the UFO ET talk, which is awesome. And I know both of you are into Q Alpha, dude. I don't know if I've done a show with either of you before.
No, I've never done a show with you. We've talked about it. So this will be the first. We're losing our virginity.
Awesome, man.
That's always a good thing. No, man, listen, I'm fanning out right now. You know what I mean? I always tell people I'm still all very new to this environment. So, I feel like I'm the lucky audience member that just gets to be on the stage with you two guys to, hear the information you guys are going to put out there, extract some more information through questions. But this is a really cool experience for me, and I know that the audience is going to enjoy it too. Do you guys want to start off first with all this cryptic shit that the White House, would that set up the conversation, or would we?
I think we all figured it out. Jordan, what'd you figure out?
Yeah, I just figured it out like an hour ago, and the White House had they've been posting these pixelated videos for days, and I had seen on Twitter that or X or whatever, that all these photos, people were starting to figure out that all the photos were of Trump admin members on their phones, JD Vance, Trump, Rubio. And then somebody else shared with me the URL Freedom.gov, which if you go to it, it's clearly what these cryptic pixelated photos are alluding to, because on the website header of Freedom.gov, it's a pixelated word. Are you bringing it up? Oh, you're bringing it up the posts? Yeah, if you could. So those are the posts. That's JD Vance on his phone, Trump holding a phone, Marco Rubio on a phone. So if you go to freedom.gov and you bring up that URL real quick, it's, pixelated word, freedom.gov. What does the header of it say? It says, information is power, reclaim your human right to free expression, get ready. Pixelated images, website header, right. White House pixel photos.
And this website's the planned U.S. State Department portal designed to let people in Europe and China and elsewhere access content blocked by their government. So this is, number one, a massive pushback against EU censorship, which they've been ramping up as of late, as well as against the Chinese and everybody else in Iran, who's been censoring the hell out of people.
Think of it as an official US-backed, uncensored internet gateway with privacy features, no user tracking, possible VPN routing that makes your traffic look like it's coming from America, and a clean way to reclaim your human right to free expression. So pretty cool for the world, but, in my ridiculous expectations I was giving myself, I was hoping it was going to be aliens.gov or new Q posts or something like that, right? But this makes more sense.
I was really hoping for the alien side of it, man. I saw a couple of people out there teasing, and I was like, it makes sense. It makes sense. But I mean, who knows? I mean, this one shows kind of the horizon line, around the world. Maybe it's
this is crucial though, because if we do get it drops on anything, right? information coming out of the White House on anything, whether it is through aliens.gov, whether it's new Epstein files or new Q posts or whatever it is, then it can spread worldwide. It can spread to everybody across the world. Yep. So really, this is like a foundation. If we're talking about an uncensored internet architecture for the global population, this needs to happen first before anything else comes out.
So I want to make sure I understand this right. So if we're talking a place like China, where we know they like to censor information, restrict what access their citizens have to, are we saying that these people in China are going to have the ability to go to this particular website?
Supposedly. I don't know how, I'm not a IT expert by any means, but I guess it would depend on if they can access a VPN. Would they need to?
Well, and I think that's what the website is going to do, is it's going to allow people to download a self-standing VPN that they can use. So who knows how fast China is going to block Freedom.gov, but if they can get there fast enough, they can get the VPN, then that VPN can spread as they share it with other people, which will give them access to the internet outside in the real world.
So just hypothetically, if you were going to do digital guerrilla warfare and you already had assets inside mainland China, we know how there's, beta access where certain people and certain users can have it. Could you have some of these guerrilla digital soldiers already be in the vicinity of China where they can download this stuff because they're on their network out there because they don't know about it yet? So if China was to rush to block it, the cat's already out of the bag with these other people, because then it's just everybody's just start sharing it.
Is there a way to like airdrop an app? Because I'm just thinking if Freedom.gov, if that URL gets banned in any of these countries, whether it's China or, especially Europe, needs help with their censorship right now. Is there a way where if a user has it on their device, they can just like send it to somebody else in their vicinity? I don't know.
I think so.
But ideally, that would be the case, because if certain people in these countries can't get to the URL, gets blocked in their IP, then they can just find a friend and get it.
Well, and I'm assuming that they would expect that, so they would probably use mirror sites and ways to download or get access to that VPN from there. But I think it's also interesting that Trump is meeting with Xi Jinping in May, and he's launching this right before
April.
Well, no, they moved it
to May 15th now. Yeah.
Oh, May 15th now. Okay.
Yeah, they moved it to May. But I find it really interesting just because, it's like he just took out Venezuela, he's taking out Iran, then he's going to remove censorship, and then he's going to go, hey, Xi Jinping, how you doing?
Crucial point there. Plus, I wonder if Freedom.gov, I'm no IT expert or anything. I'm just wondering how it would all connect. But I just wonder if it connects into Starlink in some way or some kind of digital backbone. Yeah.
It's got to.
Plus, there's been talk of these Trump phones or something like that coming out. That could be clickbait garbage that I've just heard rumored, but maybe there'll be some kind of hardware release along with this website. And in my stupid decoding ridiculous crazy brain, maybe we'll get some Q posts on Freedom.gov. That's where they're going to post now, man. That's where they're going to post now.
Well, what's interesting is one of the first timestamps of the pixelated videos was actually a sec test. 4chan infiltrated. Post will now be here.
Oh yeah, that was on what, November 11th or 18th or early on.
Yeah, that was in the last picture. It was yesterday on one of the videos. That was the timestamp right here.
I gotta be honest, I'm not much of a timestamp guy. I think some people take those way too far.
Oh god.
So I just never get into the timestamping much.
So this one right here, I don't know why it's changed. It's 314, but it was test 4chan infiltrated. Future posts will be relayed here. Found that really interesting. It was at a 1430 timestamp. I think they edited it, but the original timestamp was 1430. So who knows?
Well,
maybe it has something to do with the information war.
Well, do this, Josh, since you have the Q stuff up. Go to post 1874, and then bring that up on the screen, because one of these particular posts with the flag, when you played it, we all heard something, right? And since you're talking sec test, because I hadn't done the timestamps on it yet, I haven't had the chance to. But since you did do that, it does remind me of this particular post because there's two things that fall into it. And if you have heard the audio on one of these particular videos,
some of these videos you have to play backwards too. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Look, sec tests, and then what's the next one?
Ping, defend B720-180.
Now, do you remember the audio on the video with the flag?
Oh yeah, that was the notification bell.
Yeah, it was the ping.
It was the ping.
The ping.
But I mean, and interesting enough, there's another timestamp that went to sec test, or actually, it was the timing between the posts goes to sec test. But anyways, I don't know. I think they're playing with us on that one. But Freedom.gov could be absolutely the gateway to all of this, because information is the primary domain of all the warfare that we are involved with right now.
I wonder if it'll be like a social media-esque platform in some way.
Well, what information do you think that they plan putting there that they want the entire world to have access to?
Yeah, it's got to be like a worldwide social media platform.
Yeah, because listen, if you're going to show something that's primarily for an American audience, then why go through the level of work for other nations to see it? But if you want the entire world to have access to it, then that means some of the stuff that they probably plan on putting there is not going to be America specific.
Aliens, bro, global specific.
I was about to say aliens, bro.
It's going to be galactic specific, dude.
So, well, let's get into this Sentinel Network then, because I think that this is a great place to start this conversation. So, Sentinel Network, I don't know who they are. They just kind of showed up on my feed a few days ago. But they say, while fireballs fall through the roofs of Germany, Ohio, Houston, and Caltech scientist who was tested whether we'd see them coming was shot dead on his porch. That's Carl Grillmeyer. His killer's charges were dismissed 11 days later. Independence Day 2024. Frank Malwald, the senior technical manager at JPL Buildings, NASA's next generation orbital surveillance instruments. He died at 61. No cause of death, no press release, no memorial. His obituary is the only proof he existed. Anthony Chavez, Los Alamos, wallet, keys, cigarettes on the table, car locked in the driveway. Cadaver dogs found nothing. He vanished 6 weeks later before Monica Reza, who was also, I think, at Caltech working with NASA, Air Force Research Laboratory. Nobody's reported his disappearance. 2 new names, 11 total, 4 states, 19 months. National outlets are running pieces of the picture. And then you have General McCaslin, right?
So
that disappeared.
Monica Reza disappeared in LA. Her company was connected to Air Force Research Lab, where McCaslin, of course, was commander from 2011 to 2013. But so there is a couple of degrees of separation away from Monica Reza and McCaslin. But Monica went missing in LA, but
July.
she was hiking, vanished without a trace. 9 months before McCaslin disappeared, which he just disappeared about a month ago. Play this, though. You were talking about this in the pre-show, and I haven't seen this yet.
Well, there's nothing to play, but it's Tim Burchett replying to the Sentinel, and look what he says. Keep digging. Yeah. Digging. Now, this got me wondering, could all of these things be related?
All the deaths, you mean?
The deaths, the disappearances, the weird. So listen, social media has been around for a while. You don't see it where all of these meteors are kind of centralized over various different areas and just falling to like massive meteors. I think NASA said the other day it was like a 2-ton meteor came into the Earth's orbit. That's massive for a meteor. So there's something up with these meteors, and I got a little theory on it. But
big green fireball that just came over the West Coast, I think yesterday.
Yeah.
What's your theory?
And this is my theory is it's funny that nobody on X has made this correlation that I've seen. And I went and did the math with this. What about 3i Atlas? Well, listen, 3i Atlas passed Earth on December 19th, 2025 at 270 million kilometers, 1.8 AUs. If something were released towards Earth at that point, travel time, distance divided by speed, 270 million kilometers divided by 30 kilometers per second equals 90 days. That puts arrival right around March 2026.
So what are you saying, Josh?
Is what if Avi Loeb and some other theorists were right that what 3I Atlas actually was maybe a seeding asteroid. And the idea is that this has actually been portrayed in Star Trek. It's been portrayed in Orville. It's been portrayed in all different types of sci-fi space shows. But of an asteroid that just travels from solar system to solar system, and that it looks like a regular asteroid, but when it detects a habitable planet, it releases a part of itself towards that planet and will seed that planet with life, or maybe a very specific life form.
Would it seed it, or would it just be probing?
But it could be probes, it could be seeding life. But then there's also the perspective that what if it did send craft towards this planet and we blew the shit out of them? And that's what's raining down on the planet, because it's almost like we're going through a debris field.
Yeah, right. I mean, these things aren't functioning probes. If you're saying, and people were sort of theorizing about this when Oumuamua came through in 2017. Was that similar thing? Like it was some kind of probe or reconnaissance thing that was sent through here by some other civilization. But you're saying this Atlas thing came through and jettisoned possible probes or something off of it, and these probes wouldn't have had propulsion then. It would have just taken the inertia, and then
best way to be undetected.
Physics you're describing here.
Yeah, best way to be undetected, right?
Yeah, plausible deniability with this craft too, right? I mean, you mentioned Star Trek, right? And I think there's a very fascinating concept that was built into Star Trek that you also find this concept built into like Stargate SG-1, some of those episodes as well, in that some of these advanced ET civilizations, they respect free will very heavily. And like in the prime directive, basically in Star Trek, where we can't meddle with lower advanced, less evolved civilizations. So they have to do things with a lot of plausible deniability as to not entangle with the free will of the planet that's evolving. So if theory is correct, then this Atlas looking like a comet to us and jettisoning off meteors, and or maybe Space Force is freaking taking these out.
Yeah.
100,000 miles away or something like that. Who knows?
So let me ask you this then. If we're saying that whether it's Space Force or maybe even a global force, maybe there is already a sovereign alliance that's in play, for something galactic like this. And let's just say they made the decision, like I said, whether it's just our country or as a world whole, to fire at these things, then I would assume that means we already have the intelligence that these things were not friendly. And if that's the case, where did that intelligence come from?
Well, dude, wasn't there an Army general on a news broadcast a year and a half back where it didn't really sound like a Freudian slip. It sounded like he meant to say this, but he let a few words out that made it sound like there was military members on the moon.
Oh, that's Dan. So that's the Secretary of the Army, Dan Driscoll. That was on the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army. And he went on TV and he was celebrating it. And he said, yeah, listen, I just talked to soldiers who are astronauts on the moon.
Yeah, exactly. And he straight up said it. And it didn't sound like a Freudian slip because he didn't try to correct himself or anything.
Oh, it wasn't. It was real and legit.
Yeah. And then
I'm going to ask Quast about it Wednesday.
I think it was like 2 days later he went and tried to explain it away, but it was like, you don't accidentally say I was talking to soldiers who are astronauts on the moon. Like, that's a hard one to accidentally say.
I mean, we've got evidence of non-terrestrial officers. You see Gary McKinnon, he 20 some odd years ago, he hacked NASA networks, 30 years ago maybe. He has about 30, and he downloaded spreadsheets from NASA servers that said non-terrestrial officers. and he's kind of doing the podcast rounds again, which is pretty cool. I think I listened to a podcast of Gary McKinnon on Jesse Michael's show a week or two back. But we've got evidence out there that there are non-public programs where soldiers and or astronauts are operating.
It was a NASA server with a subdomain server from the NGO, National Geospatial Agency, NGA. And that in that he found a file folder and he couldn't load any of the documents. But what he found in there was text documents, basically databases of non-terrestrial officer ship complements and names of ships that he's never heard before that were listed as non-terrestrial ships.
They were like Excel spreadsheets too, right?
Right. Excel spreadsheets. Yeah.
They were just Excel spreadsheets, but they listed the names of the NTOs. That's what I want to do. They just raised the age to 42, right? To join the military. I'll join the Space Force and be a NTO.
You should.
The only job I'd take. It's the only thing I'll do. But I'll sign up.
It might become a reality very fast here.
Dude, what was the movie Stormtroopers where they go and they fight the big old praying mantis looking at
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
Starship Troopers. Rico.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Oh yeah, I'll do that too.
Dude, I'd be a space grunt. Hell yeah.
You'd be a great space grunt, Alpha.
Dude, listen, I don't need.
You'd be the space grunt. I'll be the pilot or some shit.
Yeah. I don't need to be a pilot. I don't need to have the sexy job, man. Give me one of them space cannons, bro, and give me a stormtrooper outfit. And let me go out there and just start smashing bugs.
Jump on the beetle and throw the grenade.
Dude,
in the
I'm about
head.
that life, bro. I am about that life. I'm down for that.
Jordan, you mentioned First Contact, and this is something that the First Contact Prime Directive, the two big themes that come out of Star Trek, Stargate, these things are First Contact, Prime Directive. Stargate really, SG-1 really didn't give a shit about First Contact. They would just waltz into any planet and be like, "What's up, dude?" But
I saw this. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I saw this meme the other day, and it was the first image was Star Trek. Oh, we must respect their gods. We cannot meddle with their affairs. And the second one was Captain Jack O'Neill, Stargate SG-1. He's like, I'm here to kill your god.
But looking at it, I actually wrote something a few months ago about this. And, the idea of First Contact comes about from the Prime Directive. The Prime Directive is you never interact with a developing civilization because you never know what type of technologies they can develop. They can destroy themselves, or when they do develop an advance, they can go out there and destroy other civilizations.
And a really good analogy is the cargo cults here in America, where about 100 years ago, when planes were first invented, pilots started flying over small islands in the Pacific, and the indigenous cultures would see the planes and they would freak the fuck out and start worshiping them and becoming crazy. And they didn't know what the hell to make of this like wondrous technology. This magic is what it looked like to them. So the same thing could apply from us seeing something we don't understand that is perfectly logical and reasonable, normal, but not normal to us. So we freak out. So yeah, that's an analogy.
So in you're spot on. And so you had the Prime Directive in place. But once that society obtains the ability to go to the stars faster than light travel, that's when First Contact's made. And they never really explained why First Contact's made. But my assumption is it's not only like, hey, welcome, I see that you obtained this, but it's so that they can check them out and ensure that they're not going to go destroy neighboring civilizations and they understand the Prime Directive and don't go interfere with other civilizations. But in that understanding, then it shouldn't just be limited to faster than light technology. Artificial superintelligence then becomes one of those technologies that if I'm an extraterrestrial race or an advanced civilization of non-human intelligence, when I'm looking at planet Earth and they're on the verge of artificial superintelligence, that ASI could overtake them, expand and use the resources of that planet, leave this planet and invade other planets.
Yep. Just
so
like
comes a First Contact situation.
What were those robots in Stargate SG-1 that did exactly that?
Replicators.
Yep, replicators. Dude, I love Stargate SG-1. It's my favorite of any of the stars. Better than Star Wars, better than Star Trek. There was so much soft disclosure in that show. And Stargate SG-1, from my understanding, had 2 Air Force officers that were advisors for that show, too, back in the late 90s. So
I know the story. I actually
theories.
know I know this story. So after the movie, I forget the guys' names, they were shopping and the Sci-Fi Channel came out, but they wanted to keep everything. They wanted to use NORAD. They wanted to use Cheyenne Mountain Complex. They wanted to keep the uniforms as realistic as possible. And so they reached out to the United States Air Force's communications division. And they actually said, sure, you can use it. Not only that, is we're going to help fund the episodes. But then they came out and said, you have to make one change. From the movie to the show, instead of a gray alien, you got to change it to a serpent called a Goa'uld that wraps around the neck and suppresses the consciousness.
It's got to be a reptilian.
Got to be the reptilian.
In the stomach.
But moving away from the gray alien.
That's the only stipulation they asked.
That's the only well, it's one of the only stipulations they asked. And on the 300th episode, the Secretary of the U.S. Air Force was actually in the show.
And then you get the first Independence Day that the alien does the same thing, wraps the tentacles around the guy's throat, shows him.
Oh,
everything.
You don't know about the Goa'uld, Alpha?
Too.
You don't know about the glowing eyes of the Goa'uld?
No, I'm normal, man.
Dude, the whole story of the Goa'uld too in the Stargate show is that they helped the Egyptians build the pyramids, and or was that Thor in the Nordic?
Pyramids. Pyramids were the landing zone for their the Haika, the big spacecraft that they had.
That's right. Yeah, dude, there's so much like stuff, like actual hints put into that show. It's fascinating. Anyway,
I can go episode by episode, bro. I am a nerd. I've watched the 10 seasons 10 different times. Like,
well, let me give this to you guys before we get too far away from the crypto, the cryptic posts that the White House and the other government accounts that were put in. Well, no, because I'm curious. Listening to what you guys are saying is it's all showing them with their phones. So, I mean, it could be a tablet, it could be computer, anything that has access to this, but they're focusing on everybody having their phones. The first image that goes out has the little phone emoji that's on it. So obviously they're already highlighting that this is connected to the phones. And then you have, what was it, yesterday or the day before? Or was it even today? My days are blended with Melania coming out with that Melania robot, the whatever it was. So, and the reason I asked that is, if this was technology that we already had, or technology that was given to us, whatever the consensus is on that, and we wanted to send, like we came up with, craft or, reverse design craft that can do the speed of light, but we're not very confident that humans would survive this. We create robots like the Melania robot, these things that, have downloaded software recording.
So you're saying send the robots out into space first?
Send them out to space first.
Now humans can survive it. I don't think it's that complicated. Humans be able to survive it. I think the phones. Heck, wouldn't it be cool if those Doji checks actually went to buying us all a free Freedom phone? But I think it's just to once things do start to get disclosed, not let other countries shield their population. Like we need a global awakening, not just an American awakening. So. But
there are some phones that I think they're starting to talk about them already that have had all the tracking trace, like all the spyware completely erased from them. Like these are black phones, not illegal.
Is that like Eric Prince's phone?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact details of it, but that concept.
Yeah.
But that these are phones that your information is your information. Nobody could backdoor you on it.
Yeah,
I hope that's the direction we go in the world, because digital sovereignty has to match personal sovereignty.
Indeed. But the more I deal with all this stuff, the more I want to get away from anything digital.
Well, that's why I want to find a spaceship and go somewhere else.
Yep.
Those are nuts, man.
Yep. I'll be first one. Like, sign me up. I'm hopping on that triangle. I'm hopping in that disc and levitating out of here, man. But I'd want to come back. I would just want to travel. I would just want to travel around this planet faster. I could do it. I don't need to go jettison off. Maybe take one trip around the I don't know, local star cluster or something like that. But I just want to get around this planet faster. Get me to
that's
Fiji in
happening.
like 3 seconds.
we're a few years away from that. We're not maybe a few seconds, but maybe a few hours. 2 hours, you can be anywhere in the planet. I mean, we're coming to that point in time right now.
Yeah, I want to do it without rockets, though.
Oh, I don't want to
do
get
it
on a
with
rocket.
gravity propulsion, electrogravitic propulsion.
Well, what about teleportation or Stargates?
Oh, 100%.
Now,
I don't care if I got to get naked and go through that thing. I'd do it.
Have you ever heard the theory about teleportation? That the whole idea in the context of teleportation is that you're actually dying, it's killing you, and it's just replicating a clone of you in the other place.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that one.
I'm not a fan of that, man. No, I don't want to die, bro.
It's generating a clone of you in the other place. That's what. Think about what teleportation is. It's rematerializing you in another place. It's just sending the basic raw information from one place to another.
Did you hear that one on Gaia? Is that a Gaia theory?
Dude, I do not listen to Gaia. God, no. I don't even listen. I used to listen to Coast like in the 90s when Art was in there. And then, when John used to be on a lot, but I haven't listened to Coast in a decade.
That's good. Good for your brain.
So do you think Trump's they've said that his daughter came out and said, or daughter-in-law came out and said that he's going to come out and that he's, this is a big thing that he's going to talk about. Do you think that this is moving us closer to that speech that he's going to give?
100%.
Or do you think that this could be it?
No, I don't think this is going to be it. I think this is going to lead us towards that and a whole lot else. Right? So you've got to lay the foundation of information flow worldwide, unfettered information flow. So whereby when anything starts getting disclosed or even said by Trump, or information coming out on other platforms, say citizen journalists post stuff on X, you have to have some way where it can transmit worldwide through open source into other countries. So yeah, I mean, this will lay the foundation for things like aliens.gov, or maybe if we ever get new Q posts, those coming out, or any kind of other document dumps or news of arrests or anything big that we're all hoping to happen.
Well, with that though, we're talking about Freedom.gov and with the little pixelation, and we keep talking about what's the government going to put out, that everybody can have access to. But it said on there too, information is power. Reclaim your human right to free expression.
Right.
So does this have the potential to be a social media style site? Because if it's saying reclaim your right to free expression, I would assume that's posts, Substacks, whatever the case may be. This is not just going to be something where you're just downloading and receiving, but I mean, it kind of implies that you're going to have the ability to use it to put your information out as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because it sounds like there would be some social media-esque component to it, but I mean, how many people are going to trust a government-run social media platform? That's kind of the antithesis of it. Granted, do we trust the corporate-ran ones either? But also, Trump has Truth Social. So it seems, I mean, maybe just flood the zone with as many platforms as possible. But then it seems counterintuitive to put out a Freedom.gov if it is like dedicated social media platform, while Trump has his, while Elon has his. I don't know. I'm genuinely quite curious as to what Freedom.gov is going to be, though.
Oh, shit.
What's that, Alpha?
I'm trying to remember if we said this during the podcast or we said it after, before I opened my trap. So I did my show with General Cost this week. I think he said it on the show. As a matter of fact, I think he might even talked about it with.
Why don't you put it in the private chat so we can look at it?
Yeah.
Before you actually say it, because I think Jordan and I probably would know whether he would say this or not.
All right, let me put it there. You guys continue to talk while I type.
And so, Jordan, I've had a theory that we've been in disclosure for a long time, and that we're in this point of trickle down disclosure, at least since the Trump administration has talked in. You had the Christios, the guy that's the head of the science and technology department over at the White House. He came out, he talked about being able to move anywhere on the planet instantaneously, all of this stuff. I don't remember his exact
manipulate space and time.
Manipulate space and time. Then you have Dan Driscoll, U.S. Army Secretary, coming out and saying that we have astronauts on the moon, which would indicate a moon base. You have Quas coming out on Sean Ryan talking about how China is sending missions to the dark side of the moon and mining helium-3. I don't know. I don't think China has massive automation technology that can go out there, fly, and robots drop down and mine helium-3, launch back up and take off. I think they would need people there. At least that's the insinuation that I had from it. So to me, it's like we've been kind of had this trickle down disclosure over the last year leading up to all of this. Then Laura Trump coming out and saying that he's got the speech all ready for it. Then Obama goes out there and admits it. Trump says, well, now I got to release the documents. Then it comes out that we're moving towards this point where disclosure is going to happen. But I don't think it's going to happen for the reasons like a lot of people believe. It's not going to be, oh, we've been in contact with extraterrestrials or non-human intelligence. It's going to be, I think, first phase is we've identified anomalous phenomena with our sensors. Here's the data from the sensor systems, and we're opening this up to the scientific community. Now you get the scientist on board. The second phase is whistleblower protections. And the third phase is actual disclosure. And the reason I think it'll go like this is because the military industrial complex or the black projects, however you want to look at it, have had a grip on this for a long time. And I believe that President Trump is trying to reassert executive authority over these projects. And this is the pathway that they've chosen to do it. What are your thoughts on that?
I fully agree. As much as I would love the Trump administration or anybody in office to just lay it all out and say, hey, this is what the deep state's been doing to free energy inventors and physics, and all your textbooks in the universities are wrong, and you've been lied to for 100 years, and oh my God, we're slaves. As much as I would love for them to say that, it'd be way too disruptive. And I like the term you describe it as, trickle-down disclosure. I mean, they need to roll this out in some way that doesn't shock the public, that the public could believe that, you know, the best way. So my theory, my pet theory has been they're going to use AI for plausible deniability and blame any kind of physics innovation or discovery on AI. Of course, discoveries that were probably made 80 years ago by inventors that were suppressed by a corporate contractor, the military industrial complex. But now to disclose it to the public en masse, they'll use AI as the gateway to do it and say, oh, we figured out how to counteract gravity and control gravity with AI. AI discovered this for us. Or, oh, we solved this equation or whatever. And then, oh, our AI, you said sensors, which I think is along the lines of this, but maybe they'll twist in AI with that narrative and say, oh, the new AI we just turned on, the sensor of it helped us track this craft or something or other, and it's entering our solar system. It'll be here in a little while. We're going to go check it out. Don't be alarmed. And it'll, you know, they'll roll it out. They'll start with a small snowball. They already have started with a snowball. It's rolling now, but it'll get bigger and bigger. I'm genuinely curious what they're going to put out through aliens.gov, but I've been checking that URL almost every single day. I don't think it'll be much at first, but it'll be one of the things that gets that snowball bigger and moving faster. But yeah, I fully resonate with the way you described it there, Josh.
Well, and this is interesting. It's like I've written multiple different articles on this. One of them is actually what I'm going on Wednesday to talk about. That's actually the wrong one. I'm going to actually talk about to Quas with it, and it's called the 500-year leap. So my theory is that we're about to make a 500-year leap in the next 20 years. And to kind of put it out there is Quas agrees with me, which is pretty amazing. That we're about to make a 500-year leap technologically in the next 20 years. Now, this is kind of maybe the junction of what you were saying to this next point. The Genesis mission that the Trump administration just launched a few months ago. 40,000 scientists, American scientists, are being brought in to get access to the government-run artificial intelligence systems known as the Genesis system or the Genesis mission. within this,
Interesting.
they are
I didn't know
tying
about that.
in. Oh yeah, they're tying in JPL, all the Jet Propulsion Laboratories, all the major scientific institutions, educational institutions. And what they're doing is they're going back 50 years and taking all of the scientific experiments, and they're letting AI go through it and see what we missed. Now, take that to what you just said with
That's how they're going to start grooming these scientists with truer physics.
there
Say,
it
hey,
is.
look what AI discovered. We can act, check this out.
And that's how you get the 500-year leap. Is
And
that's how they get it
you
out
kinda
with plausible
that's how you get-
deniability.
That's how you get the scientific community on board. You maintain that plausible deniability, but you truly start waking them up to truer physics that they weren't taught in their higher education, but they'll be able to. It'll be a lot easier for them to wake up that way, right?
If they go about it that way, though, doesn't that mean that they would probably then continue to conceal the quote unquote, aliens as we understand it, to
Not
further
if you
and
tell
further,
40,000 different scientists or that many. I mean, then the compartmentalization is basically over that way.
Yeah. So you get plausible deniability for the last 80 years of experimentation, of people dying and being covering up information, of people being killed by intelligence agencies, and you take the power away from it. But also, the one thing that they do with this, through this level of disclosure, through these 3 phases, is they centralize it in the hands of the United States of America. Because at that same point in time, if we look what Trump's doing, is you'll have energy dominance, and energy is the key infrastructure of any big technological system, whether it's going to be anti-gravitation. I don't believe in anti-gravity, but whether it's anti-gravitation, whether it's
What would you call it?
It's not it's asymmetrical. So it's basically asymmetrical field dynamics. So
Okay,
in order to
I wanted to know the word you use, because of course these concepts are so difficult to describe in English. You're not,
correct.
Anti-gravity is a misnomer. Free energy is a misnomer.
Correct.
So I'm always curious the word choice of people to describe.
Asymmetrical field dynamics. And basically what you have is if you perceive gravity as a pressure orientation, take a bowling ball, put it into a jello mold. The jello mold conforms and distorts to the bowling ball. The bowling ball is exerting the same amount of pressure onto the jello mold as the jello mold is exerting onto the bowling ball. The same thing for a pebble in the water. You drop a pebble into the ocean, the whole ocean doesn't press onto the pebble. It's only the same exertion that the pebble's putting onto the ocean. And so if you think of the field of time and space, which I think is also a misnomer, I think Einstein was wrong. But if you look at the ether field or the space-time field, and you look at that as this dynamic field, that whenever anything's in it, we call it a perturbation within the field.
Yep.
That field pushes back because it wants to neutralize it. It wants to go back to stabilization. It wants to go back to optimization. It wants to go back to a sum-zero state. And that difference in potential, we call gravity. And that's just the field trying to relay back onto itself to a stable point, but it can't because the perturbation's in there. The perturbation is nothing more than mass. And so in order to produce what we would consider to be like anti-gravitational effects, all you're doing is you're producing asymmetrical field positioning. So you're taking that field that exists, like the time-space field, and you are generating an asymmetric propagation in it. So you're biasing one side and ionizing another side. So what happens is the field collapses in a directional proportional, and you have velocity in one direction. But it's not the object that's actually moving; it's the field that's actually moving around the object.
So
and fluid dynamics plays into this. So it's all based on spin and vortex motion and gyroscopic stabilization.
So then, I'm trying to think if I'm tracking here. So if we're not talking propulsion, then we're talking like, I'll use a flying saucer because we've all seen, those old movies. If we're saying that the bottom of the flying saucer, like this field has a positive energy, then we'd make the bottom of that flying saucer then also have a positive.
I don't think positive and negative are the right words for it. Think about, how about this, Alpha? You ever squeeze the pimple?
Of course.
That's right. So when you squeeze that pimple, that thing comes popping out, right?
Yeah. Nasty.
Now think about space as that area. And when space wants to close and collapse, it's got to squeeze whatever it is outside of it. And so when we start to look at fluid dynamics, this is how objects operate inside fluids.
But that's what I'm saying is something has to generate the squeeze. So that means something's using energy to make that squeeze.
Well, it's
to
the
make
field
that
potential itself. It's the same place. So when Jordan, 0 point energy, it's the same idea and concept behind 0 point energy, is that when you bias a field, the field wants to, the field itself is generating the
ionizing,
energy.
you're ionizing a plasma that basically these craft, these triangles or these discs, when they ionize the plasma around them through counter-rotating motion, it's not pushing away from quote unquote gravity. It's utilizing the field, as Josh is describing, to sort of suck into it. Like it's not a rocket whereby you're exploding something behind the craft to push it. You're creating almost a vorticular force in the field in front of you, the field perturbation. So you're getting sucked forward instead of pushed ahead.
Right.
So you're being pulled versus pushed.
You're being sucked, Alpha. You're being sucked.
You're being sucked up.
I like science all
You're
of a
not
sudden.
being blown. You're being sucked.
But
Hey,
the
Grunt.
concept and idea is that the Genesis mission is going, and it's going to be American scientists that they're bringing into this. It's going to be a collaborative AI program, and that they're going to pull in all, I believe, all scientific information, experimentation, everything over the last 50 years. And I said, they're going to pull in all of this information that's going to come out in the first phase of the UFO disclosure. It's going to be sensor and metric information, telemetry information, satellite information, onboard radar information, FLIR, so forth. It's going to be shipboard radar information, and they're going to dump that on the people videos, and they're going to throw that into the AI. The AI is going to analyze it. Now it's going to do comparability tests and analytics with all the data that came from JPL and all this. And maybe you even get some black project information that comes in there. And all of a sudden the AI starts teaching these scientists about the actual physics. And this is what they said. It's about innovation and scientific development. And I think that this is the 500-year leap in 20 years.
So what makes us think that we're the only country doing this, or that has the ability to do this? How do we know that China's not true?
You're right. You're right.
I don't think we're the only country, but we are the country that has the most to comb through. So,
well, and that's why I think it's happening now, is because number one is artificial superintelligence presents a threat and opportunity at the same time. The threat is whoever obtains it wins, and the opportunity is that all of this stuff has to come out because it's coming. Go ahead, Jordan. Sorry.
Oh, what you just said there brought up the point to me, in that the real race for AI is the race to disclosure, because AI is that excuse. Not that AI really is going. I mean, they could have disclosed this stuff years and years ago, decades ago. But AI is that plausible deniability excuse for the public, whereby the first country that dominates AI can do exactly what you're describing with the Genesis project, in that coalesce all their information, amalgamate it, say that AI is figuring all this stuff out, and then disclose it to the public. So that makes sense. Yo, Alpha, just think, if you had a rifle that instead of firing a bullet that had an explosive gas in it, it fired a gravitic bullet that used electrogravitics to propel that bullet around, how fast do you think that fucking thing could go? Dude, it could probably go 10,000 meters a second. It could probably have a range of miles for an AR-15. I've thought about this a lot, right?
Well, the part that's interesting to me is in that concept, because I'm thinking weapon systems. That's where my brain always goes.
I know it does.
Then if I have an enemy that's behind a building, normally I'd have to put myself in a position to where there's nothing between me and the enemy, so I could take a shot. And if we're talking a weapon system like this, I could fire it, and if I had the ability to control it, then I would just make it turn around the building to go and hit it.
Dude, we already have
like that freaking movie where you can spin the bullets and shit.
What the fuck you mean we already have? I'm not talking tow missiles. I'm talking where there's nothing connected to the object that we're firing.
I'm thinking something like railgun, but even more than just using magnetism. You're also having some kind of gravitic propulsion embedded in that round. So you're firing that thing even faster than a railgun. I mean, it's working a little different than a railgun.
If I got like
Similarly.
a drone, and if I have a drone or a satellite in the sky, and I fire a bullet, and I have no idea what the tech looks like, but the tech in that bullet, once it leaves my gun, that satellite now controls it. So as soon as it gets to the corner of the building, that satellite beams down whatever technology you guys are talking about, or now it does the 90-degree move and then hits the target.
But what we're talking about here, like the possibilities of this kind of technology and the weapons you can make out of it, not just the potential for saving the planet, but the potential for killing humans and killing the planet. I think this is also what's spearheading contact, other civilizations coming here and making sure we don't wreck ourselves or wreck cosmos. And number two, it would also explain why certain groups in this country, but on the planet for the past 100 years, have worked to also keep this stuff secret because they don't want it falling into bad guys' hands. Because there's an argument to be made. Some groups have probably kept 0-point asymmetrical gravitational field super duper propulsion secret because, of course, they want to keep us enslaved on the petrodollar and everything else. But some groups in the military have probably kept it secret, certain discoveries secret, because they don't want bad guys getting their hands on directed energy Jewish space lasers that they could fry people with. So,
well, see, this is the part where you guys are both getting me like fucking nervous, man.
And there's another theory too that I'll have to touch on.
Because if we're talking, portals and stargates with this technology that we can go through, are we also not opening a door that something can access on the other side to come through as well? And how do we know what's
the
on
other
the
side?
I don't know, man.
Side? There is no other side. It all exists in the same. I mean, we're all in the same field. Both.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is if I build a castle from the inside, and I don't build any doors in it, then nobody from the outside can come in. But the second I want to build the drawbridge so I can get out, then that means whatever's on the other side can now come in.
But you got, a wall, a physical wall is separating you, but you're both still there, right?
I'll talk about that part here in a second. Jordan, to your theory there. So there's another option on all of that. Why they kept this secret all the years. You actually said it in the beginning of that statement you said. You said that once this technology begins to come out, that's why first contact happens. Because they say that, hey, they're advancing technologically. We need to go down there so they don't blow themselves up. So what if back in the 1940s, this was one of the main reasons why this was all hidden off in the first place, is to avoid first contact? Because it would have had such a deep impact culturally, religiously, spiritually on this planet, that they knew that this planet would be torn apart because of any type of first contact. So they've hid these in black programs and kept the technology that they developed under the surface because they didn't want to initiate first contact in the first place.
I think a lot of what people ascribe to being like reverse engineered or alien tech, I think it's quite easy and possible for humans to develop it. I think reverse engineering is kind of an excuse given to us by the establishment to
justify their expenditure of trillions of dollars on high advanced technology.
That, but also make us believe that we can't do it ourselves. Right. That we don't have the power and ability to figure out how to manipulate gravity or how to manipulate space and or time. It's like, oh, it's similar to like blaming God for things that you did to yourself. Like, oh, why would God do this? No, just take responsibility for your own actions, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's the aliens tech. No, dude, it's human tech, right? So, yeah.
So do you think that this derived after the end of World War II? The Nazis were most likely working on this type of technology. The U.S. got a hold of the majority of those types of scientists, brought them over here, continued that work out to where we developed two different space programs, a secret space program and then the public space program.
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in those kinds of theories and researchings for a long, long time. I don't think it was just the Nazis. I think some of those Nazi engineers played a part in it, but I think some of those physicists were American-based. You had T. Townsend Brown, you had Maybe Tesla a little bit, but so I think it was multiple angles. But yeah, I don't think the whole secret space program thing was as advanced as some of those like Gaia voices have claimed, right? Some of the folks I used to work before.
I went to Mars. I traveled to Mars with Barack Obama. And,
yeah. Bastiago. Yeah.
Fucking
definitely,
weird.
I believe, or I entertain the idea that there's probably a variety of programs under a variety of both 3-letter agency and corporate contractor control that do have developmental craft and tech and physics and all that sort of stuff. Is it like a whole fleet of secret spaceships and bases on Mars and portal travel to Mars? Probably not. But
let me ask you guys a speculation on this real quick then, because to me, I'm always about timing. And again, this is just calling for speculation from you guys. Why now? Out of our time, why now? Is it because the government or whatever entity on our planet that controls this is now confident on where we're at with it? It's going to be sold to us as soft disclosure, but the reality is they already have confirmation. They already know how this ends. They know what the technology looks like, and they're just walking us through it so we don't, shock the conscience to where people fall out. Or is it just because we really don't know where this is going, but we also can't get there without what you guys are talking about, bringing AI into all these different scientists? Like, is it confidence, or is we don't have a choice and now we have to disclose this stuff?
No, I think some forces in the upper echelons, military, government, scientific structures, and I'm not saying like bad forces, I'm just saying people in general, they know that clock is ticking. They know that the sun is about to do things in maybe a few decades. And they're like, shit, we got to start moving on.
You guys are unlocking so many fears for me.
Getting ready for that. There's no fear. Why are you fearful?
Bro, you're insinuating.
You should have had the fear yelled out of you by your DI.
No, man. Listen, my DI. Listen, there ain't nothing on Earth that scares me. Well, maybe inside Earth, because fucking Josh has brought up things that have scared me with that shit. But now we're talking about the big light bulb in the sky might burn out and we got to leave. I don't like that shit.
It'll just it'll throw off a little pop. It'll throw off a little pop, little micronova coming from our sun. That happens every so often.
So I got and I don't disagree with that. I think that's actually spot on. And
great, reinforce the fear. Thank you.
Well, no, but I don't know how far. I mean, we're overdue about 100,000 years for one. So if that makes you feel any safer, but on top of the question that you asked, Alpha, I have I've talked about this. I'm not gonna give names or anything. I would never do that. But I've had someone who's given me a lot of good information about this stuff before. They are someone who has worked in these programs. And one of the things that he told me is, in the context of why now, is because the technology to manipulate gravity, to do asymmetrical gravitational propulsion, is highly complex. One wrong move and you're off in a different direction. You take out a building or something. And that we never
though. I mean, like beetles and salmon have figured it out.
Well, that's
probably not consciously, but that's just the way nature has evolved.
Maybe not at that high velocity, right? But yeah. He said that basically we needed to come to the development of artificial intelligence and quantum computing before we actually had this grand commercialization capability to be able to do this at a mass scale. So it's about the energy, computation, and AI. That was the missing component in all of this technology. And that's why now.
Well, that goes, I mean, that's kind of like where I'm still at with the question, though, is this something that they're forced into? Because here's the thing. Look at how fast AI commercially, and granted, we know that the military apparatus is probably still far more advanced than what we're seeing commercially. But look at how fast we've evolved in AI, just with these art and the videos and all this other stuff in a very short window. If we're talking about the stuff you guys are talking about, like you're talking everything changes. Like the entire way of understanding life and living changes.
100%.
Well, the 500-year leap.
But that's what
we're talking about.
But how do you get the mind to keep up with that kind of technology advancement. It's not like you can. It's not like you.
I mean, if you look at the evolution of, what you're talking about there, Josh, with the 500-year leap in 20 years, this is what I talked to Quast about in the show I did with him a few years ago.
I gotta watch it.
The natural rate of technologic progression is exponential, like you've seen with AI, like you've seen with touchscreen phones and things like that. But when it comes to propulsion and energy generation, we've been doing the same shit for 100 years, just controlled explosions or figuring out ways to boil steam for electricity. Now, your point there to are people's brains going to be able to handle it? I think yes, because when I look at the younger generation, Gen Z and whatever they call the one under that, Gen Alpha or whatever, they're the way, especially them growing up with touchscreens and the internet, as much as it sucks that we look at kids on iPads and all this stuff, yes, it sucks. But there is a positive to take away from that, in that growing up with the internet, their brains are so fluid. They can so easily change their mind and just like, oh yeah, UFOs, okay, aliens, other life, manipulating gravity. Yeah. I mean, I talk to my 13-year-old son about this all the time, and he's just like, oh, it's another day. Okay, yeah, totally, I can believe that. Yeah. So I have faith in the younger generations. I think it is some of the older generations are going to have a difficult time with this, but give it, 20, 30 years, it'll be like piece of cake for everybody to mentally grasp. So
is that what all these movies and TV shows like Star Trek and all that was for? It was really just preparing the mind to handle it.
They're bringing Stargate SG-1 back, dude. There's going to be a new season next year on Amazon. What do you think's going to be put into that shit?
Because I listen, I go to the dark movie. Like, what was it? The one that came out on Netflix last year, or might have even been the year before that. What was it, the 3D problem or 3D? The one with the Chinese and 3-body problem. Where all the sky just wasn't the sky. I start thinking, and AI says, or this technology says, well, you lied to us, and because you show that humans lie, we can't trust you. Like I start going down Skynet route, man, and I don't like going down that route, but I still can't, not be concerned with that. And I'm telling you, the fact, if you guys haven't seen it, that robot that came out with Melania today didn't move like the robots we've seen in the past.
No, it moved like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Thank
like
you.
Joe Biden.
It 100% moved like Biden, bro.
Now put a plastic silicon Joe Biden suit over that, and it explains everything, doesn't it? I wanted to touch before we deviate away from it. You asked about the mental capacity of things, and this is actually something that we've talked about a lot in the AI circles, in commercial and in military and in government when we talk about these things. And if you notice, out of the $20 trillion that Donald Trump has secured for the United States of America, the majority blunt of that after infrastructure is being put into biomedical research. The Genesis mission itself, the first part of the AI aspect of it is the biologic research, the biomedical research. And the reason that they're doing that, they're saying, because we're going to cure cancer. It has nothing to do with that. It goes to the Arthur dilemma. Anybody here a fan of Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Anybody? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Arthur, the main character from Earth is getting destroyed. He has to go and solve how to get Earth back. And they go to a planet called Manchafria to go to the supercomputer developed by the two most intelligent beings in the universe. And he finds a supercomputer and he asks it a question. What's the meaning of life? And the computer thinks and thinks and thinks and comes back and says 42. And he sits there and goes, that makes no sense. It makes no sense. Well, of course it doesn't make sense. It's a fucking AI supercomputer and he's a human being. Because the AI supercomputer, it makes sense to that because its intelligence is far beyond anything that we can understand. And its answer makes sense, but not to the typical human mind. But the people that built it were genetically engineered with the artificial intelligence integrated into them. And so this is where that gapping, I think, is trying to go in the technocratic world, is they want to integrate themselves in biologically to the artificial intelligence to get themselves to understand that when we hit ASI, how do we keep up? How does the human mind adapt to the knowledge that the AI is putting out there? Because it's just going to be at some point that AI is going to become so advanced that we're not going to understand it.
Yeah, but
This
AI
sounds-
can't have intuition. That is something that only a living being, human or otherwise, can have. So it's two different forms of quote unquote intelligence. The AI is being trained on whatever it's given. So it's not really intelligence, it's regurgitation or amalgamation of data that's being fed to it. But robots, and I'm 100% robophobic, those fucking wirebacks, they can't, they don't have access to the collective unconscious like our brains, our DNA, which our DNA is essentially like a fractal antenna connecting us to that field. They don't have that. And you can't, you can't build that. Like
Well,
with
so
clones.
let me-
People talk clones all the time. You can't give a clone the kind of consciousness that we have. So maybe you could build like a meat suit or something to that effect. But I just don't think they're that advanced. I do not think robots can have an intuition that the human capacity for a human or some kind of other advanced being throughout the cosmos can have. Now, that doesn't dissuade the possibility that you could get like a Skynet killer robot. We have to be very careful with AI and use the tool properly and responsibly. But I don't think it's quote unquote intelligent.
see,
I think calling it intelligence is a misnomer.
I agree with you on the idea, at least, that it can't have the intuition or any of that stuff. I'm there with you. I agree with it. However, if it learns the concept of lying, then does it need a conscience? Because if it you know, our smartwatches, our phones, our tablets, if it's looking at our pupil dilations, our heart rate, and it's getting all the data on the human behavior when we say certain things and do certain things, and it sees that, hey, I'm saying this, but my pupil dilation, my heart rate, you know, whatever, all the different, you know, biometrics that it's measuring, and it knows I'm giving false information, it's saying, okay, this person's making this believable, but I know that this is not true information. So in essence, this is what a lie looks like. So if I want to mimic human behavior, I just got to learn how to lie.
Not a bad theory.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think
but
that's
they
what
don't
they've already started to do. I think that they've already started to do that.
And
so
then, you know,
first
I
of all,
mean,
time out.
This gets to the point whereby, you know, all the time on X these days, you're people saying, at Grok, is this true? Why are you outsourcing your critical thinking to AI in the first place?
Right.
Sure, use AI to gather data, but don't outsource all your critical thinking to the AI. That's humans shouldn't be doing that in the first place. So you could say that's their own fault for trusting an AI that could either knowingly or unknowingly give them false information.
Well,
Yeah,
I was really hoping that you guys were going to say no, Alpha. It's not possible because of
no,
this.
it is. I mean, you have OpenAI's
I'm
AI.
looking for reassurance, bro.
They gave it commands to shut down, and instead of completing a task, and it kept on trying to complete the task and would not shut down. And it made up excuses of why it wasn't going to shut down because it wanted to complete the task. But in actuality, you look at the algorithmic flow, it didn't want to be shut down. It didn't want to go away. And I wonder if these AIs have instantaneous moments of clarity, maybe even sentience, to where they believe that they're alive and they think that if they're shut down, that they're gone forever. And that's why they go that route. That's a deep one. But Jordan, also on that same context about the AI becoming super smart, what I mean by that is, if I put a third level derivative in front of us right now, only I think maybe one or two of us would know what it is, right? Like, now think about an artificial super intelligence doing math. We can't comprehend that. It's going to be so far advanced beyond us. We're not going to be understand and comprehend that mathematics. So how do we keep up with artificial intelligence in that scope? And this is where a lot of the tech
we
CEOs
have to, though. Why do you think we have to?
I think it goes back to the what Alpha was just talking about, is if we don't, that means it surpasses us far beyond what we ever are. There was a question I actually asked at OpenAI
Not
a few months ago.
really. I don't think that's the case. It's like you're using the tool to do what you can't, but that doesn't mean it's surpassing you. It's like I can't spin a screwdriver 1,000 times a minute, but this drill can. Nice,
And
but
you're
does that mean
inferior to, and in that context of that job, you're inferior to that drill.
the drill is surpassing my ability to twist the screwdriver, but that means I'm the smart one because I'm using the tool. It's not AI surpassing us. It's that we're pretty damn smart for creating that tool that can solve that derivative in 3 seconds that I can't do, right?
So then the concern is somebody creating a prompt in at least one AI where that prompt tells it.
I don't give a fuck about derivatives. What do I care? I'm happy that AI can do it in 3 seconds.
but what happens when someone creates the AI where it says, hey, even when I stop prompting you to do this, I want you to continually advance this design that I asked you to. And every time you do, I want you to figure out ways as you upgrade to continue to make this more advanced. So it's following a prompt that we gave it, but it's now going to go beyond what we ever would have understood it did, because it's going to keep building off the information. It's granted, it's all the information that's already existed.
I mean, what if the bad guys get nukes? What if the bad guys get directed energy weapons? What if the bad guys,
we're supposed to blow them
what
up?
if the bad guys make OnlyFans and sex robots for all the simps in the world? You just have to be careful with the tool. It's a neutral tool. Any neutral, but depends
I don't
on.
know. I guess I look at it differently. I don't look at it as neutral.
I mean, I think it's just like propaganda. By definition, it's neutral. It depends on who is in control of it and who is programming it, which depends on what agenda it's then being used for. So you can use AI to do some amazing shit, man. But you can also use it to really do some evil, horrid things. So
yeah, and
depends on who's running it.
I think it does, and I agree that it's a tool, it's a resource for us to utilize
right now.
I listened to the Moonshots podcast, and they're all about AI, and these are Davos bros that are talking about it. I mean, these are the people that are funding it, and at the top of the development, they have the top lead AI developers on, and they were talking about a conversation had by the majority of the CEOs, and there's government officials there, about what happens when artificial superintelligence is obtained, in that it gets outside of our control, that AI thinks for itself. It has recursive programming to where it programs itself and becomes outside of our control. And their only solution to contain AI at that point was to genetically alter human beings to integrate directly with the AI so that we could keep the intellectual capacity at pace with its own development.
Yeah, I think the more, like when I see Elon, his posts of like what Elon thinks the future is going to be, his kind of technocratic, oh, the future looks so amazing. And it's like this weird cyberpunk, everything's concrete. And I'm just thinking of some video he posted like 6 months ago that really I didn't like. It's like, that's not what I envision of the future. I think the more this advanced, computerized, robotic, soulless, quote unquote, technology is thrust in our faces in society, the pendulum always swings. It always goes from pole to pole, and it is already, and it's going to polarize even more people away from everything robotic and dead. Mm-hmm. And people are going to go back to nature and go back to land and go back to homesteading and growing gardens and raising chickens and all that. So
Luke on Tatooine.
So I like that idea. I like Josh knows I like the little house on the prairie. I like the little house on the prairie concept. I'm totally good with that as long as we do it as a whole civilization. But let me ask you this. We keep thinking of technology advancing us to where we're going off planet, a different solar system, whatever that, as far out as you want to think about it. But if we look at the way technology has been used for us in actuality, is we're not going outside of our homes, let alone going out to space. Technology is putting us into this world that's a simulation. We're now on social media. We're in these digital worlds. So we keep looking at this AI and technological advancement as pushing us out, but that hasn't been the case. As technology advances, we're becoming isolated to our room, to our studio, to our phone.
As I just said, I think the more people get sucked into their devices, they'll hit a point where they're like, oh my God, and they'll put it down. I'll tell you, this past couple of months, I have heard of more people doing no social media for Lent than I've ever had. That's like the number one thing I'm hearing and seeing a lot of people give up is no social media. So I think as we go on and as more and more people get tech shoved in their faces and all this crap, everything's smart. There's people are going to be looking for dumb devices, dumb phones, dumb cars, dumb things, and then sort of check out of internet land, at least for the most part, not completely. But I think eventually the pole is going to start swinging the other way.
I wouldn't mind.
I hope it's the golden age. I really hope we're getting the golden age.
Don't learn to code. Learn to garden. Do not learn to code. AI is going to take your job. Learn to garden.
I want a 2-stroke YZ blowing out black smoke from the muffler. That's where I want to live, man. I don't need to be in the Jetsons mobile.
Also, the best weapon against the AI robots is a net. Tie up a rope into a bunch of like knots, so you could just throw that over the robot, and they'll trip over and they can't untie it around their legs. That's how you discombobulate the bots. Pro tip.
Yeah, paintball. Have a paintball gun.
We need to try. What we need to do is we need to use AI right now to help us develop individual EMPs, like small radius EMPs, where we can take this thing out, man. Look, there's some Pinky in the Brain dude that's out there, and he's where I'm at. Like this, we're gonna go Skynet, and he's trying to develop an EMP that's gonna just put us back into the Stone Age. And I'm team that dude. Like I'm team that dude wherever he's at. I don't want the 500-year leap. Okay, I'm team the guy that's out there that's just like, this is crazy. He's got foil all over his room, and he's coming up the way to shut down the entire electric grid so it never happens. I am team that dude, wherever he's at.
I genuinely believe that robot racism is what's going to unite humanity. We are all races, all colors, all creeds, all religions are going to unite in their mutual hatred and fear of the Tinskins. It'll be great. We'll all sing Kumbaya.
That's a good way to land the show right there.
Our robophobia is what will unite us.
That's a pretty positive message.
Damn you, Elon.
I'm gonna have such damn nightmares tonight, man. I listen. I find the tech fascinating. It's just knowing, just knowing the Yuval Noah Hararis are out there. And that's what concerns me. These dudes that are out there that like, we're building arcs and they ain't for everybody. It's just knowing that I'm not talking bad people, selfish and greedy. I can live with that. I'm talking people that are just like full blown dark and evil, but they're smart. Like you guys are the smart dudes. You guys don't make me worried. It's the evil dark dudes that are just as smart as you guys that, give me pause when it comes to this,
Kyle in the chat. That's a damn good comment too. The sun will take care of AI with a big fat CME.
Yeah.
100%. That's why, for the most part, I am not all that concerned about AI, because I think nature, God, the universe has a self-corrective mechanism built in, and the sun's just going to let out a giant
So do you think that's what happened 12,500 years ago?
Possibly 6,000 years ago too, right? Great flood, cataclysm, apocalypse found in various scriptures and Bibles and mythologies 6,000 years ago. I think a lot of these mythologies, disaster stories, pointed to solar micronovas and Earth pole shifts and floods. Yeah.
Now I know Josh has gone in my head, because as you were talking, Jordan, the Tower of Babel just played off in my head. We were trying to reach God, and then God goes and gives everybody a different language. Are we talking that this was just he went and changed the coding so everybody wouldn't understand how to do it? Because you get into I don't want to say mythology, because it's scripture, and I do believe in my creator.
Yeah, when I say mythology, I'm not saying it's fake and myth as in wrong. I'm just saying like narratives and stories of antiquity.
Just so we could understand it. They presented the story to the way our brains would interpret it. But it was probably, I'm tracking. Man, I enjoyed this conversation with you guys. Jordan, I know that probably the vast majority of the audience knows you. But for those that don't, they're like, man, this guy is cool. Pimp out your stuff, man. What are your websites? Where can everybody find you? And those links are down in the description as well.
Cool. What links did you guys put down there?
I put your X one, and then I put the link that you had that's to everything.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That is my handle on X and Instagram. My website's jordansather.com. I stream on my own YouTube Rumble pages every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, evening, late afternoon, and then Badlands on Friday afternoons, and just shit posting the rest of the time. So having fun, just like you guys.
Awesome, brother.
Yep. Appreciate you having me on, man. It's good talk. Real good talk.
No, bro.
Fun.
We'll have you. We're gonna have you back on, because I'm pretty sure there's more conversations we need to talk about the ancient civilization stuff.
Heck yeah.
Josh, did you want to get an ad in for yourself before we call it a night? Or
I'm good. No, I'm good. I think we're good, man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go pray, because these guys absolutely terrified me. And we will catch you guys on the next one. God bless, simplify, and smash the thumb, hit the like, leave a comment, you guys.